And we are live. Yes, it's time for a special later in the afternoon on a Friday, Litvak Leadership Live. So for those of you out there who do live stream shows like this one, you either want to do them really early when you're driving back from a trip or way later, not like right when things are supposed to happen. Hence the extra half hour. And still that didn't really work out in my favor. But our special guest today, where yes, I'm being timed by Wes Wyatt. Special guest today, Wes Wyatt with the Batman shirt. I'm digging it. So tell me about the Batman shirt first and foremost.
Well, I'm Batman. You know, what can I tell you? You've never seen us both in the same place, have you?
I have not seen the two of you in the same place at all.
There you go.
Not in the least. So, you seem to have the same syndrome with your glasses that I have. The whole reflection thing going on, and a professional streamer like you, I thought would be well equipped on that. I was hoping to get pointers from you as to what to do about these.
You know, they have all these different techniques that they say, like keeping it up on your head like this, and then keeping your head straight. I think that looks moronic.
You don't think this is a good look for me like this?
I think it looks absolutely silly. The alternative is doing this and just hoping that you don't put anything on the screen I need to read.
Well, and that's the thing. What I've realized is on mine, the reflection is coming from the enormo monitor in front of me that has a bunch of white space on it. Therefore, the reflection. So, Wes, I got to tell you, before I got to know you and you became a part of our mastermind Mega Mind group, I had seen you on LinkedIn and your postings, and saw you posting some videos, and I was always and saw you on Facebook, and I was always like, man, if I could only be as good as this guy, then I'll really be getting it going. And now here I am interviewing you. My heart's aflutter.
Well, if I'm the bar that you've set, you're in big trouble. I appreciate that. That's so nice for you to say. I've been doing this for way too long. Back in the days when they had Hello World, if any of you remember that. It was a million years ago, probably every bit of probably 17, 18 years ago. And the internet just was not ready for it, if I'm being honest. I mean, it was one of those things where, it come out, and if you didn't have something other than dial-up, which, everywhere I've ever lived, it always seemed like I was in the place that didn't have it. I live in the middle of nowhere, very, very small little German village in Ohio. We have the Miami Erie Canal that goes through our town. So it's like a Norman Rockwell picture that you can step into. And you can imagine we also have the technology that goes along with that. And, so now I do have what is pretty good internet, and things have finally kind of caught up. But back in the day when we were doing video, I remember when you could add video to MySpace and getting excited about it. So that'll really date me. That really wasn't all that long ago, but that's when it really kind of started to take a little bit of form. And we went from using phones, which I just tried to hold it up and it's connected, but cell phones to, I used to use the little flip cam. We're going and using that. So a myriad of different things, to now, using StreamYard, using Ecamm, Restream, and all these just absolutely amazing software programs that allow you to have all these different, effects and whatnot. And it just, actually COVID, causing the Zoom revolution was about the best thing that could have happened out of all this.
Yeah, I mean, with Zoom and, the new LinkedIn, which premiered today, which, by the way, I'll go on record as saying after looking at it for about 15 minutes today, hate it. Huge mistake. I'll even go so far as to say it sucks. So we'll talk about that in a minute, and I'll tell you why I'm so strong about it. It was LinkedIn announced yesterday that they've now integrated Zoom and Microsoft Teams and some other streaming platform I've never heard of, to make it easier to engage those streams into LinkedIn. Did you get that same email or read that same article?
I did not. I've been busy doing other things today, but I'm sure that they probably did exactly what everybody does, and they tried to could probably rush it, and that's probably why it doesn't look so good.
Yeah, I mean, it just looks like Facebook, I think. Yeah. I mean, have you looked at it today?
I have been on LinkedIn, and I didn't notice a great deal of difference, and maybe it hasn't rolled out to everybody yet.
Okay, because when I got on it today, I was like, oh, I went to my Facebook because I have a browser and it's got a bunch of tabs that automatically open, and I went to what I thought was LinkedIn. I was like, oh, I'm on Facebook, and then I look at the tab and I go, no, I'm on LinkedIn. Oh, yeah. I don't like this at all. I mean, you know how the new Facebook, everything's gotten bigger?
Sure.
And so it's like you have to scroll more, my own opinion. Well, it's I don't know. Anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about you. So founder of iEureka. So, and you help people make market themselves first. And your I is faith, fitness, family, friends, finance, and freedom. So tell us, about your idea for iEureka and what you're doing with it.
iEureka comes from the whole concept of the king, not being able to know how to measure his crown to know how much the worth of the gold was. They
okay.
Could, move the rulers around to know, what was this and what was that. And he slipped into a full bathtub of water, and the water spilled out. And they figured out that if they were to fill a bucket to the top of water to the top of a bucket and put the king's crown in, the water that spilled out was what the crown weighed. And he screamed Eureka in Latin for I have found it. And that's where iEureka come from. So far as the essentially internet inspiration, if you want to call it, inspiration made simple. Now, so far as the F's, being, family and faith and, fun and all the different things that you mentioned, finances and faith. I just feel like, you really need to kind of make the simple things count. And those are the most important things to me. And so I try to base everything around that.
So you've been in the social media game, so to speak, or profession, for 20 some odd years, because you mentioned MySpace. What was the first thing that you found yourself doing in social media or online where you thought, I could make a living out of this?
It probably would have been in multi-level marketing way back in the day. I started off in a company called Excel Communications, which a lot of people remember, selling phone cards of all things. Yet another reason of living in a small town, that caused this was you couldn't call long distance, outside of my town.
Wow.
So, a little tiny town. So I started selling phone cards, and back then the internet was quite literally contained within a phone book. If anybody remembers, it was called the Internet Phone Book, and it was about that thick, and it had every site at that time in it, and it was a bunch of universities and Usenet groups and a very occasional actual web address. Almost right. Everything was groups, lots and lots of groups. And I got started on that. MIRC, if anybody remembers the old chat client, talking to people that, weren't in my general area, because I realized very quick that, in a town of 1,500 people is going to get real quick, to not have people to talk to. And so started doing that, and that was probably the very first look at it. And then I've done everything and then some around that since then. And just to give you full disclosure too, Sean, I haven't been working iEureka for that entire time. I've had other jobs outside of the house, during that time. It's just not something I have on LinkedIn anymore.
Got it. That makes sense then.
Yeah.
So I remember at the start of the internet, there was there was an internet provider. Well, it wasn't even an internet provider. It was what did people dial into? What were those called?
Well, they were internet providers. Is things like CompuLink and Linksys and just also, where you literally put your phone on something.
You put your phone on something,
and somebody picked it up, it would break your connection. Or your mom would pick up the phone and she'd hear,
exactly.
The old dot matrix printers. And as a matter of fact, my first backup was a tape recorder. You could literally go and eat and come back and it still would be, a quarter done. It was a TI 99 4A Texas Instrument.
Okay.
Bill Cosby was the person that hawked it, and I bought it at a service merchandise. And my mom actually used part of her S&H green stamps to help me buy it. So
okay, you're dating yourself now.
I'm only 50. I'll be 53 52 this year.
Okay.
And, it's a long time ago.
Yeah, I remember. So you would dial into, I guess it was an internet service provider, but you never really went outside that organization. No. There were like competing providers. I'm trying to think, what year did the internet first really start where you went outside those providers? Was it like AOL that created all that, or CompuServe?
AOL and CompuServe were definitely two big ones. You would go to the grocery store. Every magazine always had a CD in it that would give you, 4 free hours, or something, of AOL. And, that's when people would get excited if they got an email. But the other thing that I remember back then was GeoCities. That was the place where you actually build a site. And, a lot of people don't remember that, or the big search engine back then was Alta Vista. There was no Google, so all these things started coming along. And back in those days, you can't tell by looking at me. I'm such a little fella, but I'm 6'4" and about 350. So I was in the security world for many years, doing private security and bodyguard work and all sorts of stuff. And I moved from that into working at a place called Midwest Micro, which was a computer manufacturer here in Ohio.
All right.
Moved into tech support. And this is back in the old Windows, 3.1 days, moving into every version past that. But I've been there, done that, and have the T-shirt, and golf towel somewhere for those.
So what was your epiphany? What was your iEureka moment where you said, this is something I want to focus on in the online world?
The truth is, and I hate to say this because it belittles, the effort that I gave. No place ever got 100% of Wes. The best way I could say it is I was psychologically unemployable, even when I was employable. I would always sit and think, man, there's a course here. There's a site I could get, there's a something that I could do. And I would write. I probably have tubs of nothing but notebooks and napkins and things that I wrote on, coming up with ideas. So, I would say it's been going on for decades. To be honest with you, but so far as, actually doing it, I started doing it officially about 3-4 years ago.
Okay. So explain to us how you're helping people market themselves first.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing with that is it's kind of like being on an airplane, Sean. I hate to use the analogy because everyone uses it, but I mean, they always tell you when the oxygen drops, put your mask on first.
Right.
And you can't help somebody else until you help yourself.
Sure.
So a lot of people, I'll use Excel as an example. Okay, the Excel communications that we were talking about. It was a great company. I mean, it had awesome, offerings and everything. And I'm sure to this day, there are probably people that were the Excel guy or gal, and they probably had Excel tattooed on everything that they did. Well, when Excel went down, now what do?
Right.
They are the Excel and guy or gal, and now there is no Excel. So they have to start literally at ground zero. So because of that, when they do that, they now have to start completely fresh. So the idea of market yourself first is just that. Market yourself as on a call there, kiddo. Just got a honey from upstairs. But the marketing yourself first is
Sure.
Going through and making sure that you are the product, and whatever the service or the actual physical product that you market is secondary or tertiary,
Right.
to you. I mean, because at the end of the day, let's say it's our good buddy Randy, selling roofs. There's a lot of people selling roofs, okay, but Randy, and there he
This
is.
guy right here, right?
That guy right there. Boy, that was weird. I didn't even see that. So, Randy is selling roofs and related products,
Right.
but they're really not buying the roof. They're buying Randy. They know that they're going to get Randy. They're going to call him. They're going to get him. They're going to do an email. They're going to get him. And that really is the epicenter of the whole concept, is make sure that you are the product that the people buy. That's it. I mean, in the simplest of forms.
Well, and it reminds me because although Litvak Leadership will be something very large one day. Right now, it is my side hustle. I have no problem throwing that out there. And I am employed working for another company. And I was talking to one of our operators one day, and he was saying, yeah, if I had time for sales, I don't think we would need the sales team. And I looked at him. I said, really? And this guy runs operations, and I'm like, so how's that? He goes, well, if you provide good service and your customers are happy, people just call you.
Yeah.
I said, really? He goes, yeah. I go, so where are your phone calls?
Right.
I said, because, if no one needs to beat the bushes, I must be doing something wrong. Oh, no, you're not doing anything wrong. I'm like, okay, but if all the service is great, then everyone should be calling you. So where is it? And what I explained to him is exactly what you just said. Whatever business you're in, there's other people who are in that same business, and it's the personality, it's the individual, it's the relationship that the salesperson or the CEO or the founder or whoever it is builds with people, and that's the reason people buy. And you realize that early.
Yeah, and products do not sell themselves. I don't care what they are. I mean, look at a Super Bowl ad. A Super Bowl ad costs millions and millions of dollars, and I can honestly say, in all the years, I don't watch the NFL anymore, but if I did, of all the years I have watched it, I can honestly say there's been one site I've ever went to, and I think it was Indeed, a job search site, and from a Super Bowl ad. Other than that, all those millions of dollars have been wasted on me, and that is with advertising.
Right.
So I didn't just think, boy, during the Super Bowl I should go to Indeed. I mean, that never happened. So unfortunately, I'm sure he's a great guy, but your friend is wrong. So
yeah. I love the Clydesdales, but I'm not a Bud Light guy.
Right.
Love the right Bud Light. I think it's Bud Light. Anyways, so then you talk about the 6 F's, and I got the impression that the 6 F's are a personal thing, or is it you believe these are the 6 F's of success for anybody?
if nothing else, they're a damn good start.
Okay.
I mean, if you have your faith, and by the way, that's whatever it is, you need that. The fitness part of it, if you're not healthy, I joke about this all the time, and people say, "What's your, most valued possession?" I say it's my beloved oxygen habit. Without it, you're done. So so if you're not fit in the fitness side of it, the health, you're
Right.
moving. And you need the faith, like I said, to keep things going. And then, of course, family is a given. I mean, they're your ride or die, kind of a people. And you heard my wife yell down. If you don't have the support of your spouse in this, wife or husband or otherwise, you are going to have a very, very difficult time in this world, especially. And then the other things, the finances is the hustle. Once again, we talked about they don't buy the product, they buy you. Every day there's somebody that is waking up and they're trying to figure out a way to take your business. And even if they aren't, you really need to have that idea. It's like you're the third monkey on Noah's Ark and it's starting to rain. You got to fight that other monkey, because that's just how it works. So, and then of course the fun side of it. I think that if you don't play hard when you work hard, then you're going to die out. But like I said, those things are, if nothing else, if you're going to build a spoke of a wheel, they're definitely good basis to start with.
So faith is very important to me. I know what I was like when I was faithless. I know what I am like with faith. It is very foundational. How has faith affected you and encouraged you in your life?
Well, regardless of what people might think, for me, I know that there's something out there. I feel it. I feel like there is a guiding hand, and I like to recognize it at every pass. It might sound corny, but if a squirrel runs out in front of me and I miss it, I give a nod to the big guy, or whatever it is that you nod to. So and on the same note, I will tell you that I'm not a big prayer in the form of asking for things, and not because I don't believe it happens, but I'm more apt to give thanks rather than ask. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
no. That's a debatable issue, but continue.
It's just not something I do. I think it's kind of like someone that gives gifts. If you were the person that give 100 gifts for Christmas and then got one gift, and someone was like, "Well, aren't you sad that you only got one gift?" I would rather give, than receive. So that's just how I am. I just feel like I like to thank more than ask, I guess, is the best thing. I ask. There's times, but it has to be something that is probably dire before I do that. Although I do believe in knee mail, if you will. So
It's interesting. I guess I put your philosophical approach of you would rather be giving thanks than asking. I have known some people that they've said that all they need is enough for them and their wife. They don't need to be abundantly prosperous. And I once heard a pastor respond to that and said, "Okay, great. Why don't you go be abundantly prosperous and give it all to whatever charities you want to, including this one?" And it kind of shut the person up, because how do you argue with that? I would encourage you that when you pray, there's nothing wrong with, if you don't want to ask for yourself, ask for others. Just something to ponder. Just, I don't know. we pray a lot in our house. So, and we have like a whole format, and there's a lot of asking going on for different things, especially in the times that we find ourselves in today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 2020, I'm sure, has wore out, the prayer chains. So
Yeah. So fitness, I am definitely, by one definition or another, a gym rat. What is your favorite exercise?
I love the elliptical. I know some people don't, but that is probably my favorite, piece of equipment at the gym, other than the sauna. So,
Okay. Other than the sauna. That's great. So when someone contacts you at either the iEureka website or weswyatt.com, and they say, hey, Wes, I want to talk to you about marketing myself first. What kind of questions are you going to ask them? What kind of steps are you going to take them through?
well, the first thing I would ask is, what it is that they're going to market. How, what's the reason they want to market it? The avatar, that they're chasing after, and if they don't know any of that stuff, then at that point, it maybe is, I think that you maybe need a little bit more than just asking me this. Have you thought about these things? And if they say no, then the first thing I would probably say is you might need a little bit more than just starting a website. You need a little bit more consulting, and if it's something that I can do, I do it. I know what I know, and I know what I don't know. So if it's something that I know, I do it. If it's something that I don't know, you mentioned the mega minds. I've got a lot of friends. So, whether it's a mega mind team member, just someone online that I've met, or whatever the case may be, I might say, hey, talk to this person first, do this course. If it's something I have, do this. But that would probably be the very first thing, is kind of a discovery, if you will. And then if the discovery, can move forward, then some sort of an onboarding as to this is what we're going to do and what you can expect. But that's probably where I'd start.
So then what kind of exact services, can you give some examples of some successes that you have had with others in the past?
Well, I'll use a current one, and that is a gentleman that I work with named Brian Wagner. I know in the Mega Minds have heard me mention him a couple times, but his moniker is Brian with one eye Wagner, and he's got an eye that is unable to be seen through. He sees very odd images in what he currently has, due to a brain injury. And so with that, he has went through and just absolutely, crushed the setup side of it. And we were speaking one day, and I was basically telling him just how impressed I was more than anything with his marketing. I thought Brian with one eye was an absolutely genius tagline. And then his whole thing is, radical vision, and his acronym for, training is WINK. And it's just genius stuff. And I said, Eric with one eye. Eric is going to actually be a guest of Brian's, and probably vice versa at some point. We need to get these two together. But
Cool.
The thing that was weird was, he had a TED Talk. He had a published book. He has a beautiful website. He had, social media in place, and he was asking me questions, and he looked at me and he said, we were having a video conversation, and actually I think we were on phone, if I'm being honest. And he said, you sound perplexed. And I said, I gotta be honest with you. I don't know what I can do for you. You've done what any of us would aspire to. And,
right.
But he didn't have the social side down.
Okay.
It's like he built this just absolutely gorgeous mall, but he did it in the Sahara Desert. It was just weird, So, and I told him, I said, you did everything essentially backwards. I said, you're an enigma. But so we have since started doing lives. His offices went from being a corner of a basement to being this production studio, kind of like what you see behind me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a PC and Mac guy, so you get both sides of the world here. But and then just doing some work on Podia, putting together all his stuff into a course. And then, going out there and figuring out ways that we can apply his product in the same way that you would have like a Jack Canfield's chicken soup for the soul. Again, one of Brian's genius things is he calls the things in life that you find as obstacles blind spots, because he has a blind spot. Again, smart marketing. So figuring out what blind spots for teachers, blind spots for students, blind spots for whatever. And so it's been a whole process of going through and more or less being a muse for something that has already been created and figuring out how we can bring it to the masses. So I'd say he'd probably be the top person. And then the second would probably be, part of iEureka is I'm a contractor for a company called Mighty Line Tape, and it's a national and international tape company. So they're social media and do a podcast for them and a vodcast, so I would say those two right now are probably the two feathers in my cap.
That is amazing. I love the whole Brian with one eye, and then everything is eye related, taking something that could be distracting to people and just calling out the elephant in the room with every single bit of it. So you really have helped him go through. He has built the superstructure, but it's like he was sitting in the concert hall going, okay, where's the music?
Yeah, and it's very odd because, like I said, he even has a TED Talk. If I didn't mention that, so having gone through Dynamite, back at you, Eric. Having a TED Talk, having and if you look up Vision for Brian Wagner on YouTube, you can see that TED Talk. But I would say that the most amazing part of it, and the thing that I love, is that even though I'm working, for and with Brian is by, just leaps and bounds teaching me, because I'm seeing those blind spots that I have. I'm seeing the acronym, and I do have to put my glasses on for this. WINK is, why is it important that you're unique? Okay, so you figure out the things that are special about you. I is intention. The N is a new way of thinking, and then the K is kinesthetic, which is taking action. And I mean, you just much like our Megamind group, there's something absolutely incredible. I don't know why my fan just kicked on. I've literally never heard it on this PC, but if you guys can hear that, I apologize. But the Megamind group or working with a client such as Brian, when you have people that give you these new insights and these new ways of doing things, and you see something that you've never seen before, it's that rubber band. Once it's stretched, you can't go back to its original place.
Right.
And, I love it. I mean, anytime I can find a new way of thinking, man, I'm the happiest cat on the planet.
Awesome. So shockingly, we've gone 32 minutes, which is just amazing every time we hit that mark here on Litvak Leadership Live. So for all the people who are still watching, and those that'll watch the replay as it streams endlessly on Facebook and YouTube, if you want people to take something away that they'll go, boy, that Wes Wyatt guy, this is what I took away from him, what is that?
I mean, the biggest thing is just, respect your oxygen habit, live every day like it's your last, because one of these days you're going to be right. Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
I like that. Live every day like it's going to be your last. One of these days you're going to be right. That is a very unique perspective. Thank you for for being on the show today. I really appreciate it. You've got great insight. If folks want to work with Wes, you need to go to weswyatt.com. Easiest website in the world, next to other first and last name websites. But Wes has been doing this for a long time, and I'm sure he can certainly help you. Otherwise, everyone, enjoy your weekend and be blessed.